Hi there, Divine Souls. This is Nala Nguyen. Welcome to Twin Flame Journey 3D to 5D. Thank you so much for tuning this broadcast. This channel is going to help you understand about the Twin Flame journey, love and relationship from a 5D perspective. I've been on this journey for quite some time now, almost 8 years. I've been through a lot of challenging situations. Spirit has put me through many tests, as well as my twin flame. He's pretty much put me through the ringer. I've acquired a lot of wisdom and insights as a result of me passing through these spiritual tests. So I'm at the tail end of my journey, which means I've already passed a lot of the spiritual tests, gone through the whole entire twin flame journey, and I've completed successfully. So I'm in a position to share with you many insights I have acquired on this journey. One of the first insights I want to share with you is the traits of a twin flame. Now, there's been a great deal of interest and popularity with the collective consciousness. A lot of people seem to think they're twin flames, but when you ask them very basic questions like what are the traits of twin flames, many of them cannot answer this question. So how do you identify yourself as being a twin flame if you cannot list the qualities, the characteristics of a twin flame, and if you're not demonstrating these traits? It's one thing to have awareness of the traits, it's one thing to make a claim that you have these traits, but it's another thing to demonstrate in your way of being, okay? So I'm going to share with you the list of traits that I have come to realize through my twin flame journey, through consultations with other twin flames, through my consultations with Lord Ashtar from the Galactic Federation of Light. I do have direct conversation with Lord Ashtar through a twin flame contactee, and through my research from reading contactees' work, so that way I'm getting the most accurate information from the 5D perspective. So the information I want to share with you regarding the twin flame traits are the following. First, twin flames are very high vibrational beings, so they have a lot of light in the auric field, and as a result of them having a lot of light in the auric field, they attract a lot of the dark's attention. So forces of dark tend to attack twin flame when they're young. So as a child, many twin flames would have been in life-threatening situations depending on their visions, okay? They would have been attacked by forces of darkness. They would have been in many life-threatening situations where their life was seriously threatened, or they could have been seriously injured, or they were seriously injured. As a result of this, twin flames tend to go through a lot of trauma, okay? These life-threatening situations will be a common trait shared amongst the twin flames. Many of them will demonstrate this trait. Not all of them would be attacked by forces of darkness because they do have a lot of spiritual protection. So twin flames are very highly spiritually protected. On the Ashtar Command spaceship, they have an AI computer that is actually tracking and monitoring all of the twin flames down here on this planet. And they keep an eye on twin flames 24/7. When twin flames are in imminent danger and they're being attacked by forces of darkness, they have divine intervention, and spiritual hierarchy, angels, their guides are all there to prevent forces of darkness from harming twin flames. So this is the reason why when you meet a real twin flame, they will have a lot of challenging circumstances where they had to escape death. They had many near-death situations where they were being attacked by forces of darkness, and they weren't even aware they're being attacked. This information would only be revealed to them later on once they have certain consultation with Ashtar. But many of them would escape life-threatening situations, and they would have many serious injuries, or they would have escaped many serious injuries as a result of the divine interventions. Now, this is not usually a one-off situation. The dark forces will tend to attack twin flames multiple times. For myself, I've escaped 3 life-threatening situations. 2 in my childhood, 1 when I was an adult. So that's one of the core defining traits of a twin flame, is that they are impeccably protected by the spiritual hierarchy, especially by the GFL. Twin flames represent the GFL in the physical realm, down in the physical earth. So literally, they are the foot soldiers of the GFL. They are called sometimes earth angels. They are called the chosen one. They are the 144,000 volunteers that were selected by God through the Council of Elohim to be human embodiments to help with this planetary ascension. So that's another quality you need to understand about twin flame. They were the first set of volunteers that were chosen by the Council of Elohim to take on human embodiments to understand what's going on this planet, because this planet was infested and invaded by forces of darkness, and twin flames came down here to do reconnaissance, to find out what's going on this planet, and to report back to the councils of Elohim. So they've been on this planet for a very long time. They're very old souls. According to Lord Ashtar, they've been on this planet for 6.5 million years. They're one of the first volunteers to come into this planet to help this planet fight off the darkness that was being attacked by forces of darkness. Now, the 144,000 number, according to Lord Ashtar, the reason why it was this number, because that was the number of bodies that were available for human embodiment. Okay, there was not really any special reason for this number. This was just the number of bodies that were available for these twin flames to make a huge sacrifice in their consciousness, because there are 12D states of being, and they had to make this jump in consciousness, forfeit all their spiritual gifts, most of them, go into this deep state of amnesia to become what they are right now, which is human embodiments, to go through this ascension journey again. Now, here's another trait for twin flames. They tend to incarnate in very traumatic bloodlines. So depending on the missions they're on, they have a very narrow range of families that they can select to incarnate in. And the families they tend to incarnate in are very low vibrational, very traumatized bloodline, complete imbalance in the divine feminine, divine masculine energy, full of toxic traits and patterns. And these twin flames would incarnate into these very toxic family bloodlines to help transmute the patterns, the toxic patterns, to help clear out the trauma, to heal that bloodline. Because if they don't do this type of healing work, the next generation is going to carry the same type of trauma, the same type of issues as that bloodline. So in order for this planet to ascend, you have to do a lot of the transformation work to clear up these traumatic bloodline in order for the planet to raise its vibration and to move in higher timelines. Now, this is one of the reasons why twin flames are often bullied and attacked within their own families. They are black sheep. They don't really get along with members of the family, and they feel like they don't belong there. They feel like they're outcasts. They have severe trauma because they're constantly being attacked, not only by their family members, they're also attacked by their community, in school, and of course, forces of darkness. So being a twin flame is full of trauma, and you're constantly under attack, so you're always being on the defense, okay? So this is the reason why twin flames are the way they are, which they have a lot of mental illness. Many of them struggle with drug addiction, alcohol addiction, sex addiction, food addiction, just to cope with the pain and the trauma they've been through. And they use the drugs, the sex, the alcohol, the food to numb and cope with the pain, because many of them don't know how to heal themselves, or they haven't learned to explore that avenue and do it in a healthy way. So they use these type of substances as coping mechanism or to numb down their pains, okay? Now, the other trait of a twin flame is they're very psychic, extremely empathic, and telepathic. They possess this gift at a higher level than the rest of the human collective. This is the reason why the Twin Flame Collective are usually the first collective to be awakened. They kind of awake from the brainwashing of the Matrix. So because of their psychic abilities and they're kind of immune to the brainwashing of the Matrix, they're often the ones that are first to become awakened. So it's normal for a twin flame to be awake for at least 15, 20, 30 years. Now, there are some exceptions to this trait, because there are some twin flames that are, let's say, in China or in Hong Kong, where that population is very heavily mind controlled, and some of those twin flames would not have become awakened because it's all indoctrination programming by the same language, which is Chinese. So in order for you to wake up from your slumber and to wake up from the mind control, English is usually the best language, where you have a variety of information, a variety of perspective to choose from, so you can align your consciousness to the perspective you prefer. But if you're stuck in a country where everything is in one language and you're stuck in one country, it's very hard to break from that mind control. So I am aware there are some twin flames that are still heavily mind controlled. They really haven't awakened yet. But those are the exceptions to the rule. But a majority of them would have been awakened for a very long period of time. And there's a reason why they have to be awakened first, because they are meant to become spiritual leaders. They are meant to be spearheading this ascension process, to be spearheading the collective, and to share with the collective their advanced spiritual knowledge, and to share with the collective the information they have acquired throughout these years. Because you're going to be awake for a long time, you obviously have a lot of knowledge of how things work in this matrix. So you have a wealth of knowledge to share to the collective. So that's a very important trait, that many twin flames would be awake for a very long time. Minimum would be 15 years, up to 30 years. Okay. Another quality of a twin flame is that they're very independent. Because of the abuse, the trauma they experienced in their family, it's a very common trait for twin flames to leave their abusive and toxic family at a very young age and forge their own pathway. Because, why would you stay in a toxic environment where you're not being loved, you're constantly being abused, you're being attacked all the time? And most of these twin flames would leave their family at a very young age, sometimes as young as 15. Some of them maybe 18, 19. A lot of the time, people in this age group are still with their families. They still live at home. They're still being supported by their mommy and daddy. Everything's being provided for them. No, not twin flames. They're already out there in the world, forging their own path, figuring things out on their own. So they have a very rough life. The other thing about twin flames is that they don't really conform to the status quo, to the matrix. They do everything that the crowd is doing. So this is the reason why they tend to be loners. They tend to be outcasts, not only in the family, but also outcasts in society. They think totally in a different frequency range. They don't get along with a lot of people in their circle because they think outside the box, and they keep a lot of information to themselves because they're very awake. And if they share this information with other people, they're just going to think twin flames are crazy. So this is the reason why twin flames feel very isolated. They don't have many friends. They're loners, and it's not very easy for them to relate to people because they're deep thinkers and they don't like anything superficial. So twin flames like things to be very deep. They spend a lot of time in their head. They think a lot about the cosmos, existence. Because of their independent personality, most of them will not do well in an employee's type of setting. This is why most twin flames will be self-employed. They don't do well in a job setting where they're being told what to do. They hate being told what to do. They don't like authority figures. They are their own boss, so they tend to be self-employed, and most of them will be contractors. Some of them will have their own businesses, and they would start this type of entrepreneur road at a very young age because they're already leaving their family at a young age, so they have to really figure out how to provide, how to fend for themselves already at a very young age. So this characteristic of them being self-employed is probably a very common trait in a genuine twin flame. There are some twin flames though that are in employee types of setting, but that depends on the kind of mission they're on. Some twin flame might be a lawyer, for example, or they might be in some type of social service job where they're helping to alleviate pain. They're fighting the justice system. So depending on the mission that the twin flame's in, sometimes they would be in an employee type of setting, but most of the time, majority of them will not do well in this type of setting, and they would prefer to be independent, self-employed, and running the show themselves. They don't like to take orders from anybody, and they just want to do things on their own. Now I want to share with you one of the core defining qualities of a twin flame, a genuine twin flame. If you think about a flame is fiery, a flame is passionate, a flame is intense, a flame is explosive, and a flame is powerful. So these are a trait of a flame. We think about a flame, right? So obviously, when you think of the term twin flame, so these are the core personality trait of a twin flame. They have a very fiery, intense, passionate, powerful, and explosive personality, okay? Usually, twin flames are quite strong-willed, and they're opinionated, and they're stubborn. So when they want to share their perspective in the collective consciousness, they share with a lot of passion, they share with a lot of intensity and energy. A lot of people can't handle this intensity and energy because it's just too much. But this is one of the core traits of a twin flame, because they are explosive beings, they're full of energy. And there are many people who claim to be twin flames, but you can't make this claim without actually demonstrating these core traits. Every single twin flame that I've come across that are genuine twin flame, they always have this fiery personality trait towards them. Very explosive, short tempered, they get triggered very easily, especially because they're unhealed. And if you have a dispute with them, run for the hill, because they come at you at this fiery, intense energy that most people that are not twin flame can't handle. So when you get into a confrontation or a dispute or a difference in perspective with a twin flame, a normal human being will not be able to handle the energy that a twin flame emits, because it's just too intense, overwhelming for them. And they're usually the first one to just disperse and just run away from the conversation. Now, if a twin flame is in a dispute or are having a discussion with another twin flame, now this is going to be a battle of the egos. You're going to see huge personality clashes, going to see huge energy, a lot of intensity being exhibited by these two twin flame beings. And this is why twin flames, they tend to butt heads, especially if they don't see things eye to eye. It's going to be a clash in energy, and it's very intense and explosive. So this is one of the core defining traits in the twin flame collective that you won't see in any human collective, or even in the volunteers that Dolores Canyon is talking about. So Dolores Canyon shared a lot of information about the volunteers that came after the 2 world wars. And these volunteers were also volunteers too. You call them the light workers, okay? These set of volunteers will have very similar traits to twin flames. They're actually parallel, but however, the core defining traits of a twin flame is this fiery personality, this explosiveness, this intensity that the light workers don't have. Light workers incarnate into this planet to have an experience in this transition in consciousness that this planet is going through, this ascension process that we're going through. So many of the volunteers that Dolores Cannon was talking about, they came in here to help the planet ascend, but they're not really here to really fight the darkness, fight the cabal, to do a lot of the warrior work that the twin flame collective is doing, which is the reason why you have the light workers and then you have the light warriors. Twin flames are the light warriors. So this warrior personality is a very defining trait of a twin flame, whereas the light worker personality trait, they have a lot of similarities with twin flames, but there is an absence of this intensity. There's an absence of this warrior spirit, and they're here more for soul growth and expansion in their consciousness. So another core defining trait of a twin flame is that they're not afraid of confrontation. They don't back down from confrontation. And they usually, when they're in a confrontation, they're usually the one that finishes the confrontation. So twin flames get attacked a lot. And as a result of them being attacked a lot, they have to learn how to stand up for themselves at a very young age. And as a result of them having through a very difficult life and going through all these type of spiritual tests, because the spiritual hierarchy is obviously testing these twin flames to make sure they're passing their spiritual tests to become warriors. They're meant to become enlightened spiritual warriors for humanity. So they're going to be tested a lot spiritually. They're going to be attacked not only forces of darkness, but they're also going to be put through a lot of spiritual testing by the spiritual hierarchy to make sure they are demonstrating a lot of these character traits to become a warrior. So they're not one to back down from confrontation. They actually thrive in confrontation. But twin flames that haven't learned to stand up for themselves, like most people, they will be victimized, they will be abused. Until they learn their lesson to stand up for themselves, then they become very powerful. Until they learn their lesson to stand up for themselves, they will be attacked, abused like everybody else. But as soon as they learn that lesson to stand up for themselves, you don't want to mess with a twin flame, because the energy, they come at you, the intensity, as well as, they're very sharp. They're very razor sharp and cutthroat with their words. They also know how to fight. Not only, fighting with words, battle with words exchanges, but they also know how to fight, because in previous other incarnations, they would be gladiators. Just to give you an idea, when I say they know how to fight, they really know how to fight on the physical level, but they also know how to do exchanges when it comes to battles of words and difference in opinion. So, a lot of twin flames do get into a lot of confrontation, disputes with other people, because they tend to be very, opinionated, and the way they share their opinion is very direct, very confrontational, and it does trigger and offend other people, because that's just the way the twin flame personality is. It's just very passionate, strong will, and the way they come across is just very direct. Many of them are like this, so they come across with this intensity that most people are just not accustomed to. So this is just something for you to be mindful of, so that way you can recognize these traits, that you have these traits within yourself. And if you come across someone who's like this, most likely you don't want to be doing any type of character assassination towards these people, because you will be receiving instant karma. They are highly favored, spiritually protected, and the spiritual hierarchy does not like it when twin flames are being spiritually, psychically attacked by other beings, because they're here to do a big mission, and their life is already hard as it is. And if they're trying to speak their truth, even though it's coming off as being very, let's say, direct, full of energy, if they're being attacked for speaking the truth, it's not going to be looking very good for the attacker, because those attackers will be receiving their instant karma. That's another thing people need to be mindful of, is that twin flames are instant karma for a lot of people. So there are people on this planet that go around bullying other people, for example, right? But as soon as they bully a twin flame, that's when they're going to learn their lesson not to bully anyone else, because twin flame does not handle bullying very well. They will probably beat the heck out of the bully and make sure the bully will never attack another person again, because twin flames are like that. They stand up to the attacker, they stand up to the abuser, and they don't accept this type of behavior, and they make sure that this type of behavior will not continue again. So twin flames are instant karma for many people who are, abusing their free will and doing things that are harmful towards others and towards the twin flame. Twin flames have no problem setting boundaries and doing the things I'm sharing with you. This video is getting a little bit long. I do have a lot more traits I want to share with you. We're going to go into part 2 of this video, okay? So that way you're going to have a really detailed list of the character traits of twin flames, so you can recognize twin flames if you are one yourself. And that way the collective now has some really solid information on, who are twin flames, what they came here to do, and how to recognize a twin flame. So that way you don't want to go into a confrontation with one. It's not going to end well for people who are like this, because twin flames don't put up with people's nonsense. That's another thing people need to understand. Twin flames don't tolerate people's disrespect, nonsense very well, and they're very good at putting people in their places, okay? So a lot of the traits I've shared with you are very detailed. If you resonate with many of these traits, about let's say 80 and 90%, it's a high probability that you might be a twin flame. So if you're on this twin flame journey and you recognize these traits within yourself, I have created a membership area just for the twin flame collective. So that way you're getting the highest quality information from a 5D perspective to help you on your journey. This journey is very confusing, it's very traumatizing. I've been through it, so I know what the challenges that what twin flames go through. So if you're interested in finding out this journey and learning the solutions, how to overcome this journey and go through this journey, so that way you're not lost and confused, make sure you check out my website, www.3d-to-5d.com. Make sure you go to the twin flame section, so that way you have access to the twin flame videos, okay? So we're gonna continue this video series with traits of a twin flame in part 2, and I'll see you next week in the next broadcast, where I will continue to share with you the list of traits, so you have all the information I want to share with you, so you learn how to recognize twin flames, recognize yourself if you are one, and you have the correct information from the 5D perspective. One final message: this broadcast is available in audio and video format. So the audio format is going to be available on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And you can find the video format on YouTube. The links are going to be in the description area. So I thank you for tuning this broadcast, and I'll see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.